And I'm back. No great cause for drama. I ran over my my lame little headset that I have on, so there's that. Alright, let's see how this works. Focus on this damn camera. No, it's not focusing. What a pain in the buttocks. Buttocks. There we go. Alright, we're painting this incredibly weak sauce mummy from Mantic terrain crate. Pretty easy stuff. It's been primed gray. He's got a horrible mold line that I don't care to fix because he's terrain. I don't take terrain that seriously, frankly. I know he could be a mini, but I have enough mummies as it is. So this is going to be an entirely sort of makeshift thing today. Mostly because I genuinely don't care that much about this little dude. So we're gonna start. Ignore this worry. Pretend it's not happening. With some Xandri dust. As you can see, we still got the palette from yesterday. It's very juicy. All of the gold has spread out and become weirdly shaped. And oh look, classic rookie mistake. My paint has hardened, and now it's stuck in there. So what do we do? Nothing that important, frankly. You fix it like a pro. Like a pro fixes things. And you just kind of fix it. That didn't work. Well, we're gonna keep trying. We're gonna try till it works. There we are. It's popping off. It's popping fresh, even. Alright, so we've got that open. Rip that out. Put that on. See, dropper bottles are still less annoying than those damn Citadel pots, but they've got their own problems, like this. Where all the goop accumulates. And it literally ends up becoming its own hardened the glue that makes it stick to the cap. And if you don't clean the cap, then you're doomed. Look at all this crap I'm ripping off. It's disgusting. Ugh, that's better. So, yeah. Moved all these boys to drop bottles ages and ages ago. I once spilled Mornfang Brown. That made me very sad because it was my favorite. And after that I decided, nope, I make money now. I'm gonna get rid of all of them. Walk all of them. They's a waste of time. Those pots are disgusting. All they do is make you waste an inordinate amount of paint anyway, right? Just terrible. Just plumb embarrassingly terrible. I don't know. I think I'm starting to understand why the British have such a bad rep for quality. It's all GW. It's just GW. They've been ruining the British's rep for quality. I don't know if any of you watched the IT crowd back in the olden days, but they had this thing where Richard Ayoade would look at a fire extinguisher or a stress machine, and it would say "Made in Britain," but he'd only look at it after it broke, and he would just go, "Ah, that's why it happened." And yeah, it's not wrong. It's all GW's fault. This reputation for less than mediocrity. Because even mediocrity doesn't fall apart. Anyway, as you can see, I'm using an air paint. That's a very long story. It's also a very short story. I don't know. I always say it's a very long story. It turns out to not be. The story is that I run a couple of conventions. And a very dear friend of mine, who became a friend of mine through a convention, decided to express his undying respect for my craft, which was dungeon mastery, not anything else. I didn't paint back then. But he decided to express his undying respect for the work I did by buying me a bunch of paints. And, you know, good guy, a little bit gullible. Whoever he got the paints from, they got him air paints, which, well, this isn't an airbrushing channel, not yet at least, so put him to work anyway. It's the only reason I have so many citadels. You don't want to know how many citadel paints I have. It's a buttload. Just a metric crap ton. It is that one scene from Meso Forte. That's how much paint I got. If you get that reference, you're a pervert, by the way. It's alright, so am I. Okay. So. Let's see. So we're just doing the base coats, and as I always say, even though I don't necessarily always follow it, never put wet paint over wet paint, because it's just going to smudge and look nasty. You're going to see your brush strokes, and it's going to make you an unhappy camper. And just the fact that air paint is itself kind of inherently less thick, you know, it's thin so that it can be shot through an airbrush, which makes this a little more annoying, because it also means it doesn't stick on as well. As you can see, it's kind of running away in certain places. But you get used to it. You know, just remember to do one stroke. And yeah, this dude's actually kind of warming up to me as a sculpt. It makes me regret not cleaning him up, cleaning all those mold lines. Always clean your mold lines. Actually, kind of wish I'd Zenithal him. It would probably really help me bring out the volume of all those, whatever you call these things. Folds, all those little wrappings, you know, the stuff. Give me a sec. Alright. Well, no one's on right now. Good. You'll have to forgive me for being so insecure, but I like attention. Alright. As you can see, I'm being pretty sloppy. A lot of people will tell you that you do not need to worry about how sloppy you are with your base coat, and honestly, I agree. Especially if you're just trying to get stuff on the table. You're not super emotionally attached to the quality of the stuff you put on. Good God, this is wet. It's like super duper just blobby. Not a big fan of that. But whatever, we'll make it work. Actually picking up some of the wetter parts and moving it around because you don't want it to settle and smudge. That applies to a lot of shade colors too, is they'll settle and smudge, and that ain't good for them. I'm using a wet palette, which might be part of the problem, is that this paint's already wet, and a wet palette is going to hydrate the paint more, which means it's going to get even gloppier, even juicier. Not the kind of juicy you want, because this isn't a butt, this is a mummy. You only want juicy butts, right? Juicy rumps. Anyway, the point remains. What we're doing here is just base coating. We're base coating sloppily because we don't care about how much detail. One, this paint is already super thin. Two, if you're thinning your paint right, it's not going to hide any detail. Three, this is just to establish the color that you're ultimately going to want to hint towards. That's the point of base coat. The whole point of the base coat is to establish the color you want to deviate from as time goes on. It's not necessarily always the case, but when you start, it should be the case, because it'll help guide your brain through the motions of actually applying paint. Therefore, even though we're going to dirty this guy up and probably cover him in 2 or 3 more coats of this crap, we're still going to follow that philosophy. Being very reckless. It's a cause for shame. Very ashamed right now. But it's just life. Life is shame, and shame is life. Alright. Putting some more on. Working into the face. Now, the face and this base coat philosophy. Generally speaking, if you're painting a face, the face is where you want to be the gentlest. Being reckless, like I am with the rest of this guy, like being reckless on old man mummy wrappings, is arguably a good thing because it helps add a texture, a feel, a natural wastedness to it. And that's great for old, damaged shit. It really helps sell the idea that it's real. You don't want textures on faces because textures don't exist on faces. It's not in the same way. Like obviously all our faces have textures, you know. But they're not going to look like faces if they've got brush textures on them. And the reason I say that is because our eyes like smooth faces, even for like craggy men dudes like the Dolph Lundgren or something. You know, when you're painting them, you still want to go for smooth. You can add the crags later. That base coat's got to be smooth. It's got to be thinner than what you're normally applying. But we're not doing faces right now. And even if I were, this is a zombie man. You know, it's a mummy. It's an undead, roasted face from the olden days. You don't need to worry about that shit. Alright. Let me alter this camera a little bit. It's aiming a little too wonkily. Alright. That's better. Okay. So, this is what they mean by two thin coats. See how that second layer is really sticking on there good? That's par for the course for minis. Generally, one coat isn't going to be enough, but you also don't want it to be thick because then it hides the details. You don't want that. In that sense, airbrush paint can be good and useful, almost like cheating. It comes pre-thinned. In a different sense, it can be very annoying and risky. Alright. Sorry. Right. So, if you've got too much paint settling in the recesses like there, dry your brush, dry it good, you can literally just pick it up. It's still going to be wet. Anyway, as I was saying, thin paints, automatically thin paints like air can be useful, but they generally aren't, because they're thin to be shot out of an airbrush, which will, frankly, give you way better coverage than when you're applying them with a brush like this. This is actually sort of weak sauce. But again, desperately trying to reinforce, get rid of any hints of gray, basically. That's the goal here. This Mantic mummy is not... Ugh. Right, hit my head. Sorry about that. This Mantic mummy is not particularly a comfy thing to be working on. Just because I haven't done mummies very much. I lost my train of thought. The pop to the head actually did some damage there. That's new. I didn't expect it to be such an eggshell head bopper. So, normally I'd be painting with the grain in order to get coverage. I'm being a bit of a contrarian here. As you can see, I'm being a little reckless. I'm tired of this not having great coverage. But see that second or third coat? That actually starts really striking an effect, right? So, we're gonna keep at it. Sometimes you do need to be a little bit more reckless. Like I said, generally base coats, you want to be a little bit more reckless, unless you're working on a face. Faces ain't great for that. Recklessness on faces just ends up with a really, like, Danny Trejo looking, craggy, beaten up face. Actually, you know what? A Danny Trejo face on a mini would be impressive. The problem is that you end up with like a... It ends up looking like it's been smudged by lipstick halfway up the face or some shit. It's not good. It's far from great. Arguably, it's just terrible. So, this base coat's gonna take a while. I haven't even done the underside of this mummy's arm. Gotta always remember all your details and your needs. So, here we are. So what do? Paint. And we paint. And we paint. Keep forgetting to do his head too. Let's see. Just making sure it's working. Alright, back to it. As you can see, this rough and tumble work here. Alright. So I decided, while I've been painting this mummy's body, I'm gonna do like a red juicy face, mayhaps. So I guess we'll cover that, and we'll do that on his hand too, since it isn't wrapped. I didn't realize neither of the hands were wrapped, so we'll be bringing those back up. Generally speaking, anybody who paints minis is gonna tell you you want to do the skin first. They're pretty much right, because the skin is the lowest level surface on the body. About 100, like 90% of the time. By that I mean, there are things that go over skin, like clothes. Things that cover it up, like weapons. And things that shame it, like opinions. No, that was relevant. But the big thing about it is, skin, you want to do it first because you're hoping that by doing it first, the taller layers that you end up taking care of later will not accidentally result in you painting over the skin with colors you don't want. And I'll be honest, that hope has always been dashed from me. My hand has always slipped. I can't say I'm a pro at this. But it's still something you want to do. Now I'm doing it backwards right now. I kind of have a reason for that. and it's that the opposite isn't true here. I will not be super worried if I do the skin and some of the skin gets on the wrappings. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that wrappings are old and damaged and will be, patchy and uneven and not perfect. So, any mistakes I make on the skin here will be beneficial to the overall worn effect that I will be putting on the wrappings. Therefore, I don't have that much concern about accidentally painting over. Alright, that is a half-decent base coat. We're going to let that dry. And in the meantime, I'm going to grab some of this very red skin. Burned flesh. Perfect.
Estuvo muy buena, jefe. ¿Qué? Sí, me tocaron como 6.
Alright. I apologize for the vibration, but this is important. For many, many, many reasons. Don't worry about it. It's not like I bought an almost pointless tool specifically for agitating the heck out of my paints. Nor should you feel yourself beholden to buying one yourself. For the love of God, don't buy this stupid thing. Don't even look it up. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Please don't do it. It's so bad for you. Alright. So, with skin, I personally like to do darkest shades first. Because skin, as I said before, is finicky. Not unlike this mummy's current sense of balance, because he's about to tip over even though I've got post-effect on there. So, unlike the air paint, this needs some watering down until it's a comfortable level of stuff. And then we're gonna do the thing. We're just gonna do the thing. This guy's already coming detached, which is a tragedy, but that's okay. It happens. Things become detached. Like my interest. Or this mummy's feet. Alright, we're gonna do a quick goopy coat over his one hand that's over his heart, because he's, he's been in a sarcophagus forever. He's got medical issues. He's woken up in a time that's got no universal health care, so he can't get that taken care of. The standards of quality of life for medical care were better in his time, obviously. I mean, why else would he be a mummy? It's pretty impressive. Must have had all that mad loot. Now, as you'll notice, even here, this is an abject lesson in what happens with the differentiation in base coats, right? This is burned flesh over gray, and this is burned flesh over Xandri dust. And even there you can see, even though I'm using the same paint, the same consistency, one is inherently way lighter than the other. And this isn't a cause for alarm, far from it, but it is a good lesson to keep in mind for the future. On the other hand, now I really know that if I want to have a somewhat lighter goop flesh effect, I can always cover something in Xandri dust before I add this burnt flesh color to it, which is nice. Alright. So, not a particularly great sculpt. Like I said, these guys are terrain, so don't feel beholden to having it look amazing. Because even if it does, no one's gonna notice. I know it sounds really, really sad, but it's the reality of it. Alright. I'm gonna let that dry for just a second. In the meantime, I'm going to troll at friends. Let's see how many Brazilians I can get in on this. Alright, let's get back to it. Okay, so what do we got? We've got a not very well covered little face, a light goopy hand, and a dark goopy hand. So we're gonna keep at it. Alright. So, as you can tell from this guy, his sculpt isn't particularly great either. He is, like, I see a wrapping here that goes, like, it doesn't cover his, it goes over an eye, but then there's flesh here, so it's a little funky. I'm not even sure if he's supposed to have a jawline or if there's supposed to be a thing there. It's a little misleading, it's a little confusing, I won't deny. But we're gonna keep at it, reinforcing these colors, seeing what can be done. Keeping those nice mummy claws. Alright, while that dries, we're gonna grab some more of this Zambi dust. And we are going to... Sorry, gotta get anything written out of the screen so that it focuses on what's being done as opposed to what is legible. Cameras are weird that way. And like I said, this is just a base coat. The nice thing about a mummy is that you can be a bit reckless with him. I mean, he's just a mummy, right? He's not. He gives us no cause for precision, because presumably age hasn't been precise or respectful with him. And we're supposed to show that age by disrespecting him. It's funny, mummies can't curse time, but they can curse us. It's a little mean. But it's true. Now there it seems like I have applied a little too much. That's okay. Because we're just gonna drag it out, right? If you've got a ton and it's wet and it's a little bit gloppy, it's an advantage, because all it means is that it's giving you great coverage. You can move it around. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Ooh, very sore today. Got back into working out this week. And now a lot of me is in pain. Hope you're enjoying those sweet Mega Man beats. Can't remember if this is Flash Man or Quick Man. Pretty sure it's Quick Man. Alright. I feel like I should be doing this drunk. Anyway, I'm gonna try and get all this gray out of here, you know? You don't actually want any gray in there. Gray is kind of the mind killer. Whatever color it is you're priming, if it isn't black, it's probably making you unhappy. Even subconsciously unhappy. Now, if you know where this is from, you're as old as I am. Probably older. Well, this is a remix, so. Alright. Alright, I think that's good enough. So what are we gonna do now? Well, there's a ton of shit we can do, right? Like, what's an old mummy wrapping look like? It's worn and it's beat. And plus, he's got no depth to him. The only depth to him right now is this sort of faux depth that's been created by his by the not perfect coverage over the grays. Which is annoying, I won't deny. It's quite annoying, but we'll make do. So what are we gonna do with this guy, with this spooky boy? We're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna put him in washes. It's a very lazy way of doing it, but when it comes to the dead, lazy is good. Maybe not your brand spanking new samurai Skellabone from Games Workshop. I'm dating myself right now. It's 2020. They just came out. The Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Christ, these names are embarrassing. Can't say that out loud without people being like, wow, that is way too many edgelords for this particular decade. They're not wrong. That is an edgy fucking name. Then again, edgy has always been GW's bread and butter. So, there it is. Alright. I think he's well encoded. Keep saying he is, and then I go back to him. It's because I'm never happy with anything, so, you know. So, we're going to look at a bunch of shades. We're going to see what works out here. Of course, you've got classic El Clasico Agrax. That'll work. But what else do you want to use? Well, you know what? A shit camo green actually probably pretty well on this guy, because as things get old and decrepit, they start greening out because of the moss and what have you. Alright, then we've got Caribou Crimson. It's like a red, almost purple. That could work, maybe. Or the Reichland Flesh Shade. I feel like the Crimson would be better on the flesh. And yeah, we're going to be doing the wrappings first, before we even go further detail on the flesh. Arguably, flesh is what you really want to work on at any given time, because it's where you want your mini paint, your audience's eyes to go to. So, now normally I'd be applying the Agrax first, but I want the Agrax to dominate, and whatever you put on last is going to dominate when it comes to washes, generally speaking. So instead, we're going to use some of this Athonian Camo shade, and instead of putting it on the wet palette, I'm going to put it on a well spot. Why? Because it's already wet. In fact, it's so wet and it's in a medium that's so powerful that if I were to put it on the palette like I did with the Agrax yesterday, it'll actually split surreptitiously. And what we're going to do here is when you're applying this shade, you're going to go from the bottom to the top, because the idea is that it's going to get caught on the tiny folds and creases. It's a little too much, it's actually making me... Yeah, there we go. Right. So it's going to get caught on the tiny folds and creases of the mini. So we're going to start sideways here, just... Whoop. See that? Look at that dimension. All of a sudden, he's 3D now. It's like he's being rendered. Right? Look at that. He's impressive. He's being very proud of himself. His mummy would be proud. Man, all you fuckers not watching this, you're missing out on some prime humor here. But look, the camo blends rather comfortably with this Xandri dust color. Creates this nice green effect. If you run out, clean, dry, apply some more. Try and keep a point as you're applying this. Right? That's not a point, so we're actually going to wash off some of that until it has a point. Why a point? Well, because it's comfier, lets you be more precise, even though you're supposed to be reckless with this, right? A lot of people say you want to be reckless with a wash, and that's the point, is that you shouldn't be trying too hard with it. I disagree. I think washes are something you use tactically. It's something you capitalize on. Why? Why can't I just be reckless with this? Well, because reckless is what children do. You're not painting an army here, okay? And even if you are, you know what they say about armies in wargaming. The better they're painted, the better they roll. So you want to do this well, alright? Unless you know someone's not going to look there, you don't want to be reckless. So, just to give you a bit of a difference, that is what it looks like when he's shaded, and that is what he looks like when he's not. So now we're going to do the front. Glamorously, this mummy merits high fashion. He wants you to see every fold of his wraps. Yeah, that's where I was going with that. I think. So yeah, you actually want to see the shadows settle in. It helps to have them settle in even. The whole point of a wash is that it's got its surface tension broken by whatever's been mixed in, which is, an acrylic medium and something else and something else. I don't know the science behind it. The point is, unlike water, it's not supposed to beat up. It's supposed to break down and fall into all the holes, all the deep bits that you want it to fall into. That's why it's so dang useful, because I don't need to paint every single teeny fold of this boy. I just need to apply a wash appropriately. And you can even use it for staining, as I'm doing now. See, all I'm doing is staining the parts of this that are still flat. And, this is just the green applied. I could leave it here. I could just be like, you know what? He's looking pretty good. He's just the rain. I don't care no more. And it would work. I think it would work. In fact, just to see, let's see. I've never done this before. I've never applied a green wash on red skin, so I want to see how this goes. But we're going to do this. I'm going to see what details it brings out or hides in his fingers and such. Yeah. So they call it talent in a bottle. It's not wrong. It helps you define a mini greatly. Washes are the sort of thing you're going to be using a lot at the start of your mini painting career. As you aspire towards greater things, you'll use it less and less. Why? because it is still reckless, even what I'm doing now. I can't guarantee every part of this guy is going to dry perfectly evenly. I can't guarantee I'm not going to have to go and fix him up. Nor can I guarantee that I'll be satisfied with him when he dries. This technique is done to save time and still look skilled, which is why Games Workshop makes the best watches. Because you've got 752 fat assholes to paint, so that you can compete once and gotta get that shit done, right? Like, seriously. So, there we have them. We're gonna let him dry. Yeah, look at that boy. I think he's looking pretty nice. You tell me. Because what I see of my camera feed is effectively a smaller thing than what you see of my camera feed. Alright. So, what are we going to do while he dries? Well, the nice thing about terrain is there's a fuckload of it, right? Oh no. Oops, that was bad. Alright, hold on. I accidentally did a thing off screen. Nothing you need to worry yourself about too much. Oops, infinity. There we go, that's better. Alright. No. Okay. So, we've got some more terrain here. As you can see, some of this is pre-painted. In that I painted it before now. It's okay. I'm not gonna say any of this is good. I have a bit of contempt for terrain. For a lot of personal reasons. 99% of those being... that I don't care that much about stuff. I don't care that much about terrain because the point of terrain is for it to be used. And, well, these aren't display pieces, you know. These are basically a 50 cent a piece, little bits and odds and ends sold by Mantic, who are kind of known for their less than stellar sculpts. But we're going to be doing another one here. This guy, who is a very fancy lever, as you can see. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pull him off of this thing here, because I don't need him on there right now. I'm going to grab a cork. See that? It's a cork. It's a cork like the kind of corks that my parents and I drink when we have dinner. Winking out or some such thing. I think I got, they're just corks from the Walmart. The Mart of Walls. You know that. Anyway, so I'm going to grab a Walmart cork, and I am going to find my... Where did you go? Yeah, that's a pain in the butt. Fine. We'll just use what we've got here. I was going to use some of this poster putty to stick it on here, but it already has some, so there you go. See? See that? Perfect. Alright. Okay. Alright. So we're gonna let the mummy man draw. Because apparently camel green over Xandri dust looks fucking hot. He's pretty good looking mummy right now. I mean, I won't do anything with him because, you know, might catch one of those Dungeons and Dragons diseases I heard so much about. But we are gonna paint this. So how are we gonna paint this guy? Well, I was thinking of going with a copper color. Because it's kind of got that steampunk look. Maybe we can do the top copper and then the bottom steel, like it's like the copper's more movable or some such thing. Maybe we do the base steel. I'm going to use this Vallejo acrylic metal color. These are really fancy. They're supposed to be for airbrush. They don't have to be. They're actually they're for making shit real smooth. That's all they're for. Like, no exaggeration. These are quite wonderful. Again, these are for airbrush, so I am going to avoid. Actually, what I'm really gonna do is ignore the vibrations. So I am going to avoid putting these on a on the wet palette because they separate. And as I said before, you don't want paint to separate because when it does, what you're seeing is you're literally seeing the pigments that were ground each go their own separate way, and also separate from the very medium that beholds them, right? So instead, I'm going to put it on the weld palette here. So wet palette, weld. W-E-L-L-E-D. It's welded because there's a well in it. Alright. Enough of that. I'm going to pull this sleeve back so it doesn't end up getting painted on. And this stuff, not unlike the ink from last night, goes up your brush real easy. You don't want that. Okay? So I am going to presume that these tips here are like a rubber. That you can maybe this one's a rubber, maybe this one isn't. That makes sense to me. So look at how smooth that goes on. And you don't have to water it down because it's airbrush paint. You don't have to do anything to it. You just put it on. Like this stuff is great. It's the smoothest metallic paint I've ever had to deal with. It shakes in its medium real easy. It's super comfy to put on. Its coverage is just tits. Look at that. It is top notch. Like, that's already nice. So it's very useful. It's a very useful tool. And this is just the copper. There's like a color for everything. The only one I've ever heard people complain about is the gold. And there's some justification to that. The gold isn't great because it's a very high yellow. It's like a pea yellow almost. But funny enough, that high yellow contrasts really well with the satin that I used yesterday. Sepia, with the sepia that I used yesterday. So it's still greatly useful. I bought the gold. I own that sepia. It all works out. Man, this is just coming off. It's getting on my nerves. Alright, so there we go. Doing the thing. Oh, I did it wrong. So I'm keeping two bottles here. I'm working with metallics, so I'm going to seal the one I'm using for colors. The reason why you're using two cleaning pots here is because you don't want flecks of shiny paint, basically the mini paint equivalent of glitter. You don't want glitter on your normal colors. So when you're cleaning this, and when you're cleaning your brush, you'll want to clean your brush in a water pot, for metallic paint exclusively. And then ultimately at the end of the day, you're gonna wash your cups, and you're just gonna keep at it, so you'll be fine. But yeah, you don't. Oh, pain in the butt. I need more putty. Where's that putty at? Oh, sorry, my 0 viewers, but I'm gonna old man it up a little bit here. Alright, there we go. Putty. Meat. Douchebag. There we go, okay. Now it should resist a little less. If I wanted to be fancy, or if I stopped my hand from cramping, you should just do this and put it on here, right? Because this is way more comfy. You have a nice big handle. Look at that. Fits my whole hand. I don't have to be weird about it. I have a reverb? Shit. Thanks for giving me a heads up. Give me a second. Let me see if I can fix that. Thank you, individual I've never met before. I don't know who you are, but I am... Oh, okay. Thanks, Abdul Hadi. I sound better now? haven't done anything, though. That's weird. All right, hold on. Do I have a reverb now? Now I have a reverb. Oh, that's really strange because literally this is a headset mic. So that makes no sense. Let me make sure I don't have something else that's Hold up. Let's see how this goes then. How about now? How about now? Is this any better? No? Okay, that is funky. I never realized nobody ever told me. You know what? Hold on. Okay, I don't even have Twitch open right now, so it's not that. Right, I'm clear, but it's because I'm in front of the thing here. No, it's cool. I appreciate it. It's just like it's weird because yesterday this was the exact same setup, and nobody ever told me. All right. Oh man, fucking Windows 10. All right, give me a second. How do I check this? That's not it.
Can you hear me now?
That is... Wait, you could hear me when I asked that? Okay, then I know what the problem is. How about now? 1 or 2? Or is it 3 now? It's good? No more reverb? Ah, okay. Yeah, so it was the webcam then. It was the webcam's mic that was acting up. Okay. Thank you. At least this means I've got it going all right now. Okay. Well, I'll get back to it then. Thanks, man. And thanks for watching. There's literally no one here, so welcome to this private lesson on how to paint terrain shit. Yeah. So I'm doing this little lever here, and I think I'm gonna do like I'm gonna have the lever, the movable part of it, be a copper, and then I'm going to paint the rest of it as a metal or a steel. So yeah, like a gear inside of a housing, almost kind of thing there. So post up, post what up? Oh, well, yeah, I would. That's great. I appreciate that. I genuinely don't like posting things up myself because it feels like begging, and it goes against all of the hardcore antisocial parts of me. Um, so, yeah, having a good guy like you do it instead, that's appreciated. All right, that is much obliged. Yeah, all I'm doing right now is just recoding this so it looks as strongly copper as is humanly possible. And then we're gonna, stain it and add shadows to it through a very, very simple and cheap method. Alright. Ah, that's nice of you, bud. I really appreciate that. Alright. Ignore the vibrating, it's nothing bad, I promise you. Right. Now we're going to use some silver for the housing, if that is what you call it. I have no idea. So as you'll notice, I'm kind of OCD about getting paint on my fingers. This stuff will get on your fingers all the damn time. It's annoying how easy it gets on your fingers, Alright, so this be the silver, which is great for metal effects. We're actually gonna, we're gonna have to pull back this putty a bit, because it's overpowering the sculpt. That happens. So the nice thing about this putty is that I can't find the rest of it. No, the nice thing about this putty is it's most attracted to itself, which means that I can do that and just clean it all off very easily, like zero effort. That's what they all say. Aha, I see what you're doing there, Abdul Hadi. I see what you're doing. I guess I should call you by your name, Chain Hamal. Alright. That's a little too much, so let's get it off of our brush as quickly as possible. What's nice is, look at that smooth coverage. That's what's so great about this particular brand of metallic paint, is it just goes on. It goes forever, like that silly ass Energizer bunny from the 90s. Dating myself again. Telling you all just how boomerish I am. All one of you. Alright. So we're just gonna coat this. Ah, this is my jam. I unironically enjoy Space Jam remixes. They are good. You have no idea how much I'm bobbing my head to this right now. Now, what's interesting is we could go the lazy way and stain both of these with a Nuln oil, which is again one of those Games Workshop washes. It could be a little fancier, stain them with different and disparate things, which is what I like to do generally. I don't like the idea of everything being dirty in the same way. Goes against, I don't know, the small level of professionalism that I have for doing even terrain. So we're gonna do 2 washes. We're gonna do 2 washes immediately after this dries here, because you don't want to do it while the paint is wet. Oh yeah, so that's actually a huge thing. No funny voices there. You do not want to apply a wash to this paint while it's wet, because this paint is for airbrush, so it's already inherently thirsty. And that means that when you apply a wash, which is itself also a wet medium paint thingy, it's going to make it run. It's going to make this run so hard it'll actually start pouring off into other areas, and it'll make a mess. If you're patient enough to let this dry and then apply the wash, however, what you can do with it is you can literally stain this as though it were covered in oil marks and what have you, making for an amazing effect at the end of it. But yeah, you've never heard of a frickin' what? Nah, you can't tell me that you have never heard of Space Jam remixes. What? What kind of self-respecting nerd are you? What? That's not possible, man. That's not true. That's impossible. All right. So, while that's drying, we're going to go back to our mummy, who, as you can tell, is now Xandri Dust. This guy here. And camo shade thrown in. And because we did that camo shade in this peculiar down-up single-stroke motion, it actually looks really distinct. Like, we've added so much shadow to this guy with no effort whatsoever, right? So we're going to do it again. But this time we're going to use the Agrax. Agrax is your sort of traditional dirty brown. Oof, I did a bad there, see? I cleaned in my metal, but I'm going to be using acrylic normal, so you can already see the little bits of spark here. The little bits of shiny. I mean, I can see them. Maybe you can't because of the angle of the light, what have you. But we're gonna wash this off a little more harshly. And if paint ends up sticking to it, you just clean it. You get over yourself and you clean it. You clean it right there and then. You don't actually want to pull off a lot of this paint with your fingers, because you'll be ripping off the bristles, and this is a $15 brush, so you don't want to do that. It's only going to last you 6 months anyway, so, may as well treat it with respect. Right, I already had the Agrax set up in here from yesterday, from doing that one hilt, so I'm literally just mixing it up so that it remembers what its shape and function is supposed to be like, and then we're just going to load it up on the tip here. We're going to try and keep a shape, and we're going to do the same thing we did last time, from bottom to top. So, and the nice thing about Agrax is, it's a mummy's color. You know what I'm saying? Look at that. All I'm doing is bottom to top brush strokes. You don't even need to do this many. Like, that was too many brush strokes, arguably. We need more Agrax. Yeah, actually, let's be reckless. So this is nice and thick. We're going to do the entire back, just big strokes. And some more big strokes. See that? Adding depth to a mini, while not spending very much effort on the mini. Because, once again, this guy isn't even an enemy. This guy is terrain, right? So, like, do you need 752,000 smooth glazes on him? Somebody gonna look at him with that much detail? No. He's a mummy, alright? He's not like a cool epic level mummy that he's gonna be like a final boss or some cool shit. No, he's just a mummy. Like, I don't even think this guy's trying to kill anyone. I think that's rigor mortis. That's how much of a mummy this guy is. He's not even a magic mummy. He's just a regular mummy. This dude isn't even King Tut. But you want me to paint him like he's King Tut. That's too much. You ask too much of me. Alright. So, we're gonna let him dry. Actually, I'm gonna be a little bit reckless and reinforce this front side, because the back side you can see all of those nice sets. The front side he's a little too bland, so one more time. And if he gets too dirty, which he might, you know, you might be like, what happened there? What happened to his feet? Why is he that dark? Well, you clean it, and you do that. You absorb it. Easy. It's not hard. You just fix it. You don't even have to rush. All you're doing is absorbing all the extra fluids. Not unlike what the mummy does to you if it beats you in an encounter. In 3.5. I don't know if they do that in 5e anymore. Alright, we're gonna let them dry. We're gonna go back to this guy. And we are just gonna do the copper. I've got the Agrax Earthshade, last bit of it. We'll see how much of that lasts, right? So just blop, 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 clop. That's all you're doing. See? It's already got dimensions to it. Same thing here. Just smooth strokes. Don't be afraid of it. It's like cooking. If you're afraid of the fire, you already messed up, right? That doesn't mean you don't respect it. It just means you stop being afraid of it. Yeah, that'll dry nice and three-dimensional, which is exactly what you want. That's all a wash is. A wash is effectively the liquid paint equivalent of a rendering engine that allows you to see better textures. That's all a wash is, right? So if you do the video games, it's an easy explanation for you that makes absolutely no sense to anyone who doesn't play video games, I suppose. Anyway. So now we're going to do the silver. Nuln Oil. This is another wash. Yes, I own all of these, even though I hate GW. No, you're not allowed to judge me. Alright. Because I'm OCD, I'm going to clean all of this off. I don't like having dirty cups. Because then this happens. And then they stick together over time. And it makes for a terrible experience. When this video gets saved, you'll be able to see just how terrible it is, because it already happened to the very first paint I opened during this video. Right. So now we're going to apply the Nuln. See, we're still seeing the copper there drying. We've got the Nuln here. Putting it up. There you go. We've got the Nuln here, so I'm going to take it. Load it. Apply. Again, just simple strokes. Look at that. Immediately becomes a three-dimensional object. It's no longer bland. It's no longer bleh. See that? That's all. That's all you're doing. You're just gloppily applying. Whoop. Looks like I made a mistake because I ate some of that brown up. Some of that Agrax. That's alright. We can fix that. The nice thing about all this paint is that it's thinned so spuriously that you can just go right over it. And it's no cause for drama. See that? And the way it settles there, it creates those nice shadows that you want. Now here's the spot we forgot about. We forgot about that inside of the gears. So, gonna grab the Agrax right quick. Just one more dollop. Load that on. Put it on your brush. Bada bing, bada fucking boom. There we go. See that? Shadows already. Same here. There you go. Done. It's done. Let that dry. If you think that the silver part looks too dark, then you go back to it. That's it. Right. So let's give it a couple seconds. I'm gonna touch up the silver here. That's too light. I want it to look a little more dingy and oily. That's what this is for. Same here. Just let it settle. You know, let the paint define your contours. That's what a wash is for. Alright? See, this is why I like being precise with washes. Some people will just say, grab your entire mini, paint it the way you want to, cover it in Nuln Oil, dry brush it. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. That's for children. You ain't children anymore. This is a COPPA unapproved channel here. None of that child shit. Liquid green stuff? What for? Liquid green stuff is this stuff here. Again, this is for covering holes in minis. Except everyone I've met who uses it hates it. They literally say, like, I've asked on the big forums with all the European painters on them. I'm like, hey, what do I use liquid green stuff for? And the first 3 responses I get are, you throw it in the garbage. That said, I do actually use it. Give you an example. This guy's base here, it was just a rock, and all of this was an extra terrain thing that I built, and then when I attached them, I used liquid green stuff to connect them so that they look like they're one piece. And I do that a lot actually. So it's not useless, but it's not entirely useless. Oof. All right. So we're gonna go back to the mummy. We're gonna see what's going on there. All right. So let's see the mummy, right? So we've got pretty dark looking. He's actually not dried fully. You can see some wet parts there. Hopefully I'm reflecting the light at you. Problem with the camera is it doesn't have the same angle of eyesight as I do, but yeah, I see it reflecting on there. So yeah, he's a little too juicy, but that's okay. We've got other stuff to work on. We've sort of all of these shades that we've added have actually really helped add dimension to them. So I would say now all we want to do is we want to let it dry fully before we do a dry brush, because it's wet. So if you try to dry brush on it, your dry paint is going to get wet and run. You don't want to do that. But the hands and the face aren't entirely wet. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab a lighter version of that color that I just put on, right? He is covered in burnt flesh. So I'm going to put on some reddish flesh, which is literally the highlight color for burnt flesh. Sorry about the screen shake. But this particular paint is super thick, and it really requires a lot of shaking. It makes me feel very comfortable to be using this big ass paint mixer. Jesus. The agitator in this is barely moving at all, even though it's made out of steel. That's how thick this paint is. Right. Ooh, it's already popping out. That's when you know you agitated it right, I suppose. Alright, that's good enough. Pop that bubble. Add a bit of water to it. Alright, so normally somebody would say, well, why don't you just dry brush the face on? And I would say, because you're not a sloppy bitch. We are just going to touch up all of these little metacarpals, that's finger bones, on the mini. Right? You might be wondering why this needs to be done. The answer is simple. Because, as I discussed yesterday, all mini painting is maximum contrast. You want the difference between your lights and your darks to be as defined as is humanly possible. Why? Because minis are tiny, and therefore they are already subtle. If you try to be subtle with something that's already subtle, what you're actually doing is just hiding. You don't want to hide the details. You want to make them more obvious to a lay person, a normal human being, someone who doesn't paint. Thus, what you actually want is to have as much contrast between the light parts of something and the dark parts of something without completely betraying the original purpose of the color. That sounds complicated. It's not. All it means is that you're going to grab your brightest, in this case, pink, and your darkest pink, and you are going to use both. Both will always get used, because it's the only way your brain will be happy staring at something so small. And yet still being told it has shadows. So, here we are, refining some of these small bones. And now we go on to the grasping hand here. And again, we're basically just doing a precise edge highlight. We're just grabbing the tippy tips of all these bones, and we're making them lighter, because everything else about the hand is already dark as hell. So being able to tell the light from the dark, that's all you need. All you need in order for reality to exist on such a small medium is to have your lights and your darks consistently oppose one another. Not unlike every work of fantasy fiction ever. Hot take. So there you go. See that? His hand now looks a little more like a hand and a lot less like a blob, even though all I've done is covered in wet paint 3 times and then add some dry stuff, right? He looks pretty good. Now, I don't know what's going on with all of these weird white splotches. That's actually kind of blowing my mind, but we're going to correct that very easily. We're just going to grab some water. And this was the sandy dust. So, while this is drying, we're just going to paint over it. Now, some parts of this, it's wise to paint over it with sandry, but some of it isn't, because they're shadow colors, right? So, in fact, I've stained this so much, this is sandry compared to it. Xandry is no longer on this surface. So actually, let me take that back. Let me walk that statement back and pick out something more darkness appropriate. Maybe? No, it's too red. But that could work, but that's really more the color of his skin. How about that? That'll make a good shadow color. Alright. We are going to grab this and just put a little bit on. You don't need much. I'm going to water it down. My throat is already getting hoarse. I'm going to need another Halls soon. If you'd like to send me a Halls donation, Please send me a private message. I will send you my address. I will always accept halts in lieu of payment. Because my throat is burning up. That was a joke. There's actually no one on here except for a friend of mine, and I'm not going to ask him for money. So, I don't know what exactly caused this mini to suddenly grow white blotches everywhere. I am going to guess it has something to do with the acrylic medium in either the Agrax or the Coeli green shade. I'm almost sure this was the Agrax, in fact. So I am touching up all the shadows with this even darker color Rhinox hide. And as you can tell, it's adding even more contrast to it. It's making all of those band lines even more defined, even more self-evident, which is arguably kind of the point. This is ultimately your end goal, to have that big contrast. Are you seriously gonna just drop by with a box of holes? Can you at least get the expensive ones? Because the expensive ones are nice. You know, the ones that are like $40 for, I'm sorry, the ones that are $7 for 40, and they come with a honey filling that explodes in your mouth when you take it. Right. Well, I have a holes in my mouth. This one's on me. Alright. So, got a lot of weird little things to correct here because of my mistake. I think it was because the Agrax was split for a day too long. We'll look at the other mini, the little lever, and we'll see whether that's the case there. But this does give me an opportunity to whine at you about how pointless shades are if you're willing to put in the time. These shade colors, the whole point of them is to do what I'm doing right now, except without spending so much time on it, you know. And even then, as you can tell, you never get the exact kind of shade you might want, because in this case, me doing this by hand is actually creating a much more stark effect than the shade itself. The Agrax Earth shade was not this dark, right? And yeah, that thigh gap there got a little splotchy. We'll fix that soon. It's alright, it's all fixable. Everything's fixable. Everything's deductible. Actually, the Rhinox makes for really good shadow color on the hand too, so there you go. Don't you make sex puns at me, you bastard. You friggin', you know that's haram. Don't you start with me with your haram bullshit. Got Abdul Hadi over here making puns at me. Things exploding in my mouth. Man, shame on you. So yeah, just doing the usual, fixing up. It's tempting to just do the whole thing this way, even though it'll take forever. Because mummy wrappings, right? Mummies, they're so fucking needy. Just constantly demanding your time and money. Trying to blackmail you into doing stupid things on their behalf. Wait, are we talking about the monster or the mother? Whatever. Same difference. Alright. I think he's done. Man, I think I'm only like a year younger than you. You can't be 40. That's for dang sure. But fine, fine. I'm sorry that you're such a wanker. I won't call you out on your wankerness anymore. Alright. Actually, I think that looks pretty good. It's not spectacular, but I think he's pretty decent. You're gonna stab me. You're turning 38. 38? Man. I guess your knees are gonna give out soon. Also, you lecture me again, and I'm just gonna look at you cold dead eyes, and I'm gonna say, okay, boomer. And that'll be the end of it. Right. So, Mummy is done. Not too concerned with the, like, all the details of him. I think he's done by my standards. I say that, but I'm still making alterations as I'm talking. It's my OCD acting up, contradicting me. Not unlike my one viewer here, Abdul Hadi. Oh, really? You're first generation? I wasn't aware of that. That's cool. So, what am I doing now? I'm fixing a mistake I said I'd made. Right here. Yep, there we go. Alright, that's good enough. This mini sparks joy. Sparks enough joy, at least. It's not supposed to spark all the joy. That would be quite an expectation. But yeah, there you go. That's a mummy. It's not too bad. It's not too offensive. You know, it's just a regular damn mummy. Somebody just sent me some manner of text. I apologize if you heard that. Alright. I think he's done. He's good. He's good enough that I don't care no more. Alright, there you go. Mummy. Look at that. There you go. Mummy. Look at that. Oi. Damn it. There we are. Mummy. Yeah, technically I'm FOB as well. Alright. That's enough of that. Gonna put him away. We're gonna finish this handle up. So handle's dry. You might be thinking to yourself, well, that's not, there's good contrast there, right? But there's not enough good contrast there, so we'll just keep applying. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like I said, you're less brushing it on than you are staining it on. Same here. Although here it's not so bad. It's still. There. Let that dry, and in the meantime, we'll work on this supposedly rubber handle, which might not be rubber at all, but we're gonna make it look like rubber. Why the heck not? Right? We've already got the black on here, so we're just gonna use that. Let me grab a small bit of water. And thank you. I think it's all right. Like I said, it's not great. It's not like a display piece or anything, but that isn't the point of these. This is all supposed to be terrain. Alright. So, simple base coat. Always remember to not touch wet paint with your brush. Because then it gets smudgy. You don't want a smudgy brush line. You want a smooth brush line. The mini should not look like a brush touched it. That's your end goal. Arguably, that's the first thing you work on before you do any of the complicated stuff. You develop a deft hand. So, easy enough. Alright, so we can call that our base coat. Because that isn't the end. Never paint something pitch black and then just leave it like that. It's never going to look good. Never! Alright, I'm going to give this little metal rims here. Just so there's some contrast, doesn't all look the same. You know, there's basically two kinds of color theory. One that tells you how colors interact with light, and one that tells you how colors look next to one another. One is arguably more color aesthetics than anything else, while the other literally teaches you how to make something feel natural. And this is not that. This is literally just me choosing to add some silver around some black stuff so that it doesn't all look monochrome and boring. Alright. I'm also noticing I mucked up some of the copper, so we're gonna fix that. See all that gray there? That needs to be fixed. That should not be gray. Neither should the bottom of this. There we are. Nor this even. Alright. Yeah, there we go. Light tip of wet. And mix it in. Get yourself some of that nice silver on there. This stuff has amazing coverage. It's why it's so good. Just lob it on, goes in smooth, dries super tight. So if you overdo it a little bit, it compensates for you. It's nice. It's very comfy. It's a comfy color. All right. So got that out of the way. And this is what I meant by way earlier, like an hour ago. I was talking about how you normally go from deepest recess to most surface thing. And well, when you start, it doesn't matter that much because you're always gonna fuck it up, like I have here. Like some of that silver has sneaked through. There's nothing I can do about it, so. Except for correct it. And you know, the more you correct, the more you learn to not make the mistake in the first place. But making the mistake in the first place is normal. You are not a super pro. You're not supposed to be, not yet. I've been at this for 4 years and I couldn't call myself anything but middle of the road, half decent. I've met too many people with too much talent to think I'm hot shit. Actual talent, not just something born out of practice. Real fucking skill. It's too bad they mostly surround themselves with idiots. They're not particularly useful. But I can't deny they've got skill. Alright. So we've got the black on there. It's nice and tight. It's a good black. So what do we do now? We need to brighten it up. Why? Because nothing is ever one solid color. not even rubber. I am going to get rid of this tiny hair here, because it annoys me. It does. A lot of them are really nice too. I've got a lot of respect for the people in the mini painting community and the mini painting Discord in particular, because they have to put up with basically a bunch of other people who are just woefully unprofessional and childish about their presence there. And the thing is, it is a lot of arguably wasted talent. I'm also a little bit butthurt because a lot of them paint busts, and busts are super cool and very pretty, and they're actual real works of art, and that's really impressive and all. But you don't use them for anything. Like they're not painting minis. They're painting half torsos of hot women or badass looking dudes, and that sounds cool and all, but you don't do anything with it. It sits on your, you take a picture of it and people applaud you online, and then it sits on your cabinet forever, or you sell it because you need to fill that cabinet with newer shit that you're painting that you're never going to use, right? I'm not trying to paint this for display here. I'll be blunt. This is all going to get covered in gloss coat and then put in a big hardware container, like the toolbox basically. And then I'm going to haul that out to places, and I'm going to be like, that's a lever. And they're going to say, oh, that's so cool. And I'm going to be like, hell yeah. And that'll be the end of it. Like, it'll get used. People will get to see it in action. But that's it. All right, so we've done that. You can see there's some color differentiation, and I'm going to add more color differentiation as that dries. Right now, I want to edge highlight this. What's an edge highlight? It's this. It's creating the illusion that there's a brighter part to all of it. So I'm just taking the silver, putting it on the tip of the brush here, and literally just going around all of the edges of the shape to create the idea of a brighter sheen, to trick your brain into thinking this is even more metal than it already is. You might be wondering why, because I'm already using metal paint here, right? You're like, why is he doing all of this? Yeah, somebody should make... Yeah, you are a badass looking dude. Somebody should totally make a bust sculpture of you. That would be great. I wouldn't buy it, but I don't paint busts. I'm sure they would buy it. And they'd be like, oh, look at this guy. Apparently this sculpture is called One Man Disappoints an Entire Convention, but it's very cool looking. Shots fired. But in all seriousness, yeah, that will probably work. People do often look for unique sculpts. That is one of their goals. So yeah, an Abdul Hadi sculpt probably do pretty great. Probably be all sorts of impressive in its own silly way. Hey, fuck you, alright? Don't you start with me. Speaking of disappointing the convention, did you ever manage to sort that thing out? Because they haven't exactly changed their tune about it, and none of our dear beloved leaders have made any comment on it either. Yeah, please do. Because right now everyone's under the wrong impression, and morale is already kind of low, given who our leaders are. So any kind of good news is beneficial to us as individuals. You know what I'm saying? So once again, back to the subject at hand, adding some contrast here. Adding just a bit more lines of gray to give the idea that this is more rubber than it is just pure black. And that lets us create the impression that this is a somewhat reflective material with depth and volume to it. That's it. That is the only goal here. The goal is always to trick the brain. You have to think about it cynically in order for you to achieve that. If you think about it idealistically, you're not going to achieve it. You're just going to make yourself sad. Alright, I think we're done with this particular piece. Like I said, just some light touches. You know what, I take it back. I'm going to refine just this dark line a little bit. Then we should be done. Yeah, just make it a lot smoother. Same here. And here. Alright. Alright. See you in a bit. If you actually come back, of course. Alright. Let's see. Alright, well, we are done with these two pieces. And it is only 9, so let's do some more, right? So just for a reminder, we've done these two boys. That's a mummy, that's a lever. They have no relation to one another other than they came in the same box. Alright. Excuse me. Iron Maiden? Let's do Iron Maiden. Give me a minute to look at what an Iron Maiden looks like in real life. Also, look at that. The back isn't primed, so this is going to be a mess and a half. It's going to be fun on a bun. That's our goal right now. Iron Maiden. Alright, give me a minute to set up. Okay, so this is like a very beaten sort of metal. We're going to do some gunmetal, and then we're going to dry brush it. If only Nemesis were here to hear me say that. Alright. So, I've got some pretty dark, grim metal colors. They'll be of use here. I'm going to be using this. Actually, no, that's magnesium. Let's not use that. It's a little too grim. Gunmetal gray. It's going to give a very blackish impression. A lot darker than the silver we used over here. And then we're going to bring it back up with a dry brush. So why? Because, mostly. Just to do something slightly different. Plus, this gives me an opportunity to pull out more and more and more and more differing paints, which I feel is so right. Let's have a look at you. Again, this is from the Vallejo model color line, which is incredibly smooth and silky. And also, you know, if you let it hang around your brush for too long, it'll completely ruin it because this shit climbs the bristles. You can literally see it climbing that bristle. That's bad. So be wary of that. And we're just gonna get started. You know, don't be too rough. Even though this is just a base coat, there is one reason to not be rough, outside of it being a bad habit to create once you start doing skin, of course. And that's that, frankly, the rougher you are applying it, the more you're damaging your potentially very expensive brush. So what you want really is full single motions, just whoosh. Especially with this model color paint, because it's gonna look fucking baller no matter what you do with it. It's just the best, frankly. So simple enough. This is a booty jam. This song is from a now defunct cartoon on the Cartoon Network. One that was unironically reviled and loved by older people like myself. So, in case you haven't noticed, there's your middle half. There's your not middle half. This color is particularly antagonistic towards the camera. It's hard to see exactly what it is because the light's reflecting off of it. So, but it is beautiful. We're gonna keep at it. Alright, so we're gonna do the other half now. And then we're gonna do something silly. We're gonna shade it. It's already dark as balls, but we still gotta shade it. Remember to clean your brushes when you're done working with this stuff, because it will stick to your bristles and it will stay there forever, and it will make your brush act up if you leave it in. Like, I don't care how little discipline you've got, after you're done using this, you better clean up after yourself. You fucking better. This ain't good to just leave, you know? It's bad. It's real bad for your expensive French brushes. Alright, we've got the whole thing covered. We're gonna let them dry, because as I've warned you before, this paint is beautiful but very wet. Alright, so we're gonna put that away for a bit. We're gonna look at something else to cover. Do we feel like a Skellerman? Or this? This is just weird. I don't. It's supposed to go with the Iron Maiden, but it's also supposed to go with a sarcophagus because they were too lazy to give you more than one. I don't like it. I'm running out of. I'm running out of things to paint. Right. let's do this skelly bone then, right? This is a weird one because this is actually from this is supposed to be what goes in the Iron Maiden as opposed to the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus has that money in it. That was the whole point of it. Right, I'm gonna close this up because we don't want to get too many metal flecks on this. I'm gonna do that. And then we're gonna grab this skelly bone and we're gonna start dark. There's a lot of crevices to get into. Plus, there's the fact that like there's technically ground that he's been sculpted under, which gives an even weirder impression that he's supposed to be really dirty. It's a dirty boy. So let's grab a nice darkish color. I am tempted to use this again. That would be way too damn dark. Just too dark. I don't have a crap dirt brown, do I? That's interesting. Right, well, in that case, I think we're going to use Doombull, which is a little more red than I want it to be, but on the other hand, it gives the impression that he's like buried in clay or sand or accumulated dirt. So we're going to go for that. Now mind you, we are not applying Doombull on the skeleton. We are applying Doombull on all of the stuff of the sculpt around the skeleton. Alright. If it turns out to be too red, that's okay. We'll fix that later. For now, we just want to establish a color. We just want to get rid of the gray. There should be no dull grays in your life. Never again. Never again. Ah, yes. Watch this breaking madness take us 100-fold. Man, Doombull dries an almost orange color, doesn't it? What an interesting development. Welcome back. I have moved on to a Skellerman, whom I am currently just doing the dirt for. We're gonna use some different tools on the Skelly bones. we're gonna really dirty him up compared to the mummy. The mummy's almost clean in its own desiccated, weird way. We're gonna actually make this guy messy. It's a Skeller man, you know, a Skelly bone, you know, a solid spoop. What are these terms too young and hip for you, buddy? Ah, yes. The frustrations of a boomer-ass boomer. It's okay, I am one too. Like, seriously. What? No. What are you talking about? I didn't make up any words. These are new terminologies used by the young hip people that would beat you up because your pants are not in style. Also, which word? I said like 6 words. I don't know which word you're talking about. You need to get your pronouns down pat. You know, master them pronouns, yo. Alright, that's good enough. Like I said, this is a base coat. You're not taking this too seriously. Plus, he's a terrain guy, so he ain't gonna get up and fight no one. Whoa, whoa, whoa! My pants are always in style, cause they're business pants. They're in business style. I'm afraid the streets are running with teenage gangs. Yes, and they'll beat us up because our pants are not in style. Alright, so bony bits, bone stuff, bone zone. Alright, so we got some paints here we're gonna be using. I don't feel like Raykarth flesh is perfect, but we'll use it anyway. Why the fuck not? We're gonna start with the base of this and then we'll lighten it up as it goes. Maybe even do a dry brush. And then we'll dirty him up. Ooh, I see what you did there. That was cold-blooded. Alright. Put down some of that Raykarth flesh and then clean up this tip because it is disgusting. Look at that. Oh my god. Ugh, gross. I've had to exercise better dropper hygiene. That's what I gotta do. Alright. So when are you ordering my special cough drops? Cause I could use them right now, even. That is a nice dead tone for a basic bone color. Actually, rather digging that. That'll do nicely for a first coat. Oh, 30th of February? You don't have Amazon Prime? Heartbroken. Did you get the really good ones? The ones that are like 40 for 7? There's 7 for 40. The point is you get 40 of them and you pay $7. That's what I'm trying to mean. They come in lemon and honey lemon. Oh, that's sweet of you. That's much obliged. You're my only fan now. That reminds me, actually. Hold on. I gotta bug a much richer man about some stuff. Life. Oh, okay. There we go. You sound just like Nat Wee. I bet you and him would get along. You should join us next time, by the way. Last time, so I don't know if I told you, but Sunday night at Katsukan, when we were done with all our work, we went to a Peruvian restaurant. We went to a Peruvian restaurant around like 5 or 6. It was in literally like off of Route 50 in Falls Church. It's called La Granja de Oro. And my entire staff and I went there to eat. It was great. It was like their minds were blown. I'd been there before, and I went in and I ordered like 3 jaleas, which is a Peruvian fried seafood platter. It's like a fish and chips if the British knew how to cook. Really well done. And everybody got their own plate afterwards. And next time, for Katsukan, you should join us. You can meet my staff and discover the delicate intricacies of my henchmen. Find out all that deep Arturo lore. Oh yeah, and afterwards we went back to the hotel because we had it until Monday, and we used my I ran a D&D game for like 7 of them, while the rest watched anime. It was a blast. But you should join us next time. You should, look us up. Also on Sunday, on Saturday, we break a piñata because it's become a tradition now. They'll buy a piñata and fill it up with candy, and we'll bust it open. Then we'll get drunk. Don't tell the con. You should join us. What do you do at your security at the con, right? Like, oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, I've never been invited to whatever MedSec does. How wild is it? How fucked up do you all get? Like, I don't think even Giancarlo's gone to the MedSec party, and he was security for years before I poached him from your department. Department Division Head of Attendee Services. Alright, gotcha. So, but you're also on the board, right? Right. No, I didn't know he knew all about him. Because he generally wants to leave Sunday pretty quick. But that's cool. So, silly question, since I've got you on here as a sort of pseudo-captive audience. What do I do? I applied to the board. Well, no, I'm sorry, I didn't apply to the board, because you don't apply to the board. People recommend you to it or whatever. And they passed me up. Do you have any idea why? I just want to know. Like, I want to know all the intricate, deep gossip. All the deep Katsukan lore. Was I scary? Did I scare them? I always fear that I've scared them. Well, I'd be kind of proud if I scared them. Ah, fair enough. You can give me a call afterwards and we can talk about it. 'Cause I like to know. I want to know what's going on in their head sometimes, you know. They seem like good, decent people, but sometimes the paranoia sets in and you can't help but wonder what's going on. Yeah, it's cool. Anyway, more importantly, painting the Skeller Man. So we've got, you know, I'm just doing the base coats here. I'm doing it with what's supposed to be like a ghoul flesh color. It's almost like flower color. That's fine. And I don't mean flower like it grows. I mean flower like you use it for cakes. And it's nice because this is gonna brighten up really good, and because it's got just a tinge of brownish red in it, it's going to also darken up really well. It's going to be very comfortable for when we apply the infamous strong tone to it. So right now this is just a base coat. We'll cover this in strong tone once I get the base coat done. But he's got so many little contours, it's actually hard to base coat him fully here. So we'll keep at it. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of gossip I'd actually like to talk to you about off the record, of course, just for my own amusement. Because it's nice to know things. Anyway, this base coat has taken forever. It's kind of killing me. Woof. Look at that. Look at all these bones. I have a bunch of Warhammer. I think it's called Underworld or Underspire or something like that. They had a 7-man. Basically, it was like a strike team of skeletons, and they each had a unique sculpt and a unique pose and a kind of a unique set of armor to them. But they all still looked like they were fresh from the grave, so it was like an impressive amount of variation. I've got those, and I am constantly looking at that box going, God, I want to open that up and just paint the fuck out of it. And it's going to be a while before I do, because I have a big backlog that I'm trying to catch myself up on. That's part of the reason why I'm doing all this streaming, is that this adds on the pressure of getting shit done. You know what I'm saying? And I like getting shit done. Getting shit done is basically my hobby at this point. So I want to get to those, make some real good Skellerman. But I've got other guys who are my priority right now. This isn't even my priority. There's this shit I want to get off of my table, like, as soon as possible. Because it's terrain, and I've kind of had it up to here with it. Tired of it covering up my cutting mat and taking up space. I want to be rid of it. I want to be rid of it for good. I want to just call it done and quits and be like, all right, get off of my table, get into my toolbox, etc. So here we are, doing a paint, so they say. Just getting those deep recesses. Reaching into this Skellerman's riblets, making sure his skull is nice. Like I said, like I keep saying, this is a base coat, so don't give that much of a fuck about it. Only give enough of a fuck about it to get the the paint on there and to keep the brush from being damaged by your movements. That's it. That's your priority here. Get the paint on the motherfucker. Then he'll be fine. You know, it just takes time. Alright, I think that's a good enough coat for me to start with some of the more fancy shit. See you in a bit, old man. Hands are getting sore from all this posing. Whoa, people are on. I'm perturbed. Very perturbed. Alright, well, let's keep at it then. Not expecting any live responses from anybody, except for Abdul here. We're just doing some base coats. The skeleton is too pale and too skin colored and too clean and also too dirty. He is a lot of things. None of them are great. That's alright. He is terrain. He doesn't deserve that much work. But we are going to do something cool with him. Oh, that's not true. According to me, there are like 5 people on. 4 people now. 3. I don't know who another TT viewer is, but he's here. He gets credit. Alright. Just gonna... Alright, so we've got this guy. As you can see, he's a Skellerman. We're gonna give him depth. I keep talking about depth. We're gonna give him depth like we gave that mummy depth. But we're gonna use something completely different. Because we may as well try something a little bit different. This is strong tone. It's an asshole. Don't ever use it with your real brushes. You'll ruin them. And that'll be a good $8 to $15 wasted. We're gonna use some crap brushes with this. Gonna grab one of these super fake, supposedly Kolinsky Sable brushes. Look at how beat up this shit is. Look at this shit. Look at it. Gonna do all the right things with this. Strong tone is weird. It's very reminiscent of Agrax Earthshade, except it's dirty and it smudges and it's not exactly ink either. It's still a wash. It's just a dirty, dingy, ratty wash. And you would think, why would I ever want that? Well, because ain't no such thing as a buried skeleton that's clean. So we are just moving this around until it latches on to the right details and makes them pop. That is all we're doing right now. Strong tone comes in 2 forms. This little droplet form you're seeing me use here, and a ridiculous fuck huge tin that you will never run out of. I don't recommend getting the tin. If you're using that much strong tone and are still trying to go for quality, you are doing it wrong. This eyedropper has lasted me 3 years. Shows you how little I use it. That's because I'm trying to paint to impress most of the time. Which means I don't use it very often at all. But see that? Look at that. That used to be bland, whatever, red shit ground. Now it's got shapes and shadows to it, and I didn't even fucking try. So, not unlike Citadel washes, this is also talent in a can, or in a dropper, or in a pot, whatever your chosen receptacle is. All you're doing is you're not applying this like paint. You're not trying to get full coverage. You are just trying to get it to stick and make force contrast between several things at once. That is it. That's your only goal here, is to force contrast, right? So look at that. Now the arms don't look nearly as boring. Now you can actually see every bit of his spines there. You know, now all of the dirt underneath him actually looks real. And he looks dirty and beaten and dingy, which is what you wanted. Because he's a fucking skeleton. He ain't clean. He don't take showers. He's been in the ground. So, easy stuff. I think one of them's a bot. In fact, I was told last time one of them is a bot. The one that says Commander Root is a bot. That's all I know. So, 2 more people. Flattering nonetheless. So we're gonna let that dry, because it takes a while. It's gloppy, you know. We might apply some more to those deep Skellerman holes, though. You can be as gentle or as harsh with this as you want. Just remember, you're not going for full coverage. Arguably, you want the opposite. You want this to sink into the deepest parts. There we go. Alright. I think that's a good start. It's not bad at all. We'll leave him to dry. What else can we work on for now? Got half an hour to faff about. Maybe even more, depending on whether or not I've got any kind of love or patience for all of you. Oh, yeah, right. We were waiting for this guy to dry, and now he's dry. Great. I'm going to use him. So, you can use Strong Tone with this thing. It would probably make for a great sort of dirty look, actually. So I'm going to do it. I've never done this before. I normally like to use Strong Tone on things that are deliberately brown, whereas this Iron Maiden is clearly not. Plus, it's already dark as hell. I've tried using Null Oil on this stuff, on this particular flavor of gunmetal, and it doesn't really work well. Because it's already Null Oil colored, right? Like this thing here was silver and then had Null Oil applied. This thing is just gunmetal. It already looks like it's Null Oiled. So we actually want to go even darker just to take advantage of the contrast. So we're just going to load that up. I'm going to put it on there. You know, find a brush you don't care about. Find a brush whose family you don't have any emotional investment in. You know, you don't care about his plot arc. He's probably going to get canceled. And just glop him on. This actually works better for this because this is an implement of torture. So you expect it to get dirty over time. So this can actually be quite nice. Now, as I was ranting about probably 15 minutes ago before I caught the dementia again, I was saying how this stuff came in 2 things. It came in this dropper bottle and it comes in this big fuck-off tin. The tin is kind of pointless because if you're using it, your minis just aren't going to look good. The tin, I've heard from people who I can only refer to as clinically insane, is for dipping. Can you imagine getting a fucking can of this shit and just putting your mini on a toothpick and sticking it on there real tight and just going right into it and then pulling it out and brushing away some of it in order to create contrast? It sounds disturbing to me. Like, that's not right at all. There's no craftsmanship in that. And what's even more ironic is we got a demo copy of Star Wars Legion for Katsukan, and we looked at all of the what are they called? The Rebel Soldier minis in it, and they had these weird black streak stains all over where their shadows should have been painted. And we immediately knew. Everybody in there knew. Everybody who'd ever painted went, oh, this is what the dip and brush method is for. All it does is make your minis look dirty. Not nice, subtle dirty. Not convincing, covered in dirt dirty. But someone smeared this with poop dirty. Like, pointlessly dirty. It's a little tragic. But, you know, you can't give that sort of criticism, one, for something that is free and offered up freely. I certainly wasn't going to call out our donator, our demo piece donator this year. He's a good guy. He helped us out, got us out of a jam that we got ourselves into by letting us use his demo set. So for that we thank you. But yeah, this is a lesson in what the results are. I mean, this was a demo copy, so it's not like they were going for quality. They were going for you can put it out on the table and use it. And you certainly could do that. But if you were to put time and effort into these things, I don't think that would have been an experience you'd be proud of. So, there's that. Okay, so while these two are drying, we're going to do a light dry brush on this guy. Because why not? Let's add more detail to him. Now we're not going to dry brush his skin, because his skin is already pretty well done. We're going to dry brush his wrappings. Just add a little bit of bright to it. So, I'm actually going to grab some of this here Screaming Skull, which is GW brain damage term for ivory, and we're going to use that. A little bit of this. By the way, all of the air paints that you see me using, like Ushapti Bone, like Sandry Dust, they were all donated to me by my good friend William Kennish, who is probably not on right now watching me, but I'm eternally grateful to him anyway. So, dry brush. Here's what I'm doing. I put a drop on the palette. I actually wouldn't recommend putting it on a wet palette. It's generally a bad idea, but I don't have a choice here. Putting it on just a tip. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a towel and I'm going to brush most of this off. Literally just going to dab it off until I see some, but not much, coloration. And now, it's the opposite of a wash. Instead of going from bottom to top, we are going from top to bottom. So just whoosh, 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 whoosh. You should slowly be watching the paint accumulate. And what a dry brush will do is it'll add a feeling of texture and a highlight to the mini. Which will be nice, because it makes it pop even more. It adds to that idea that it's contrast. See how soft I'm doing it? It's because I'm a total weak sauce. I'm really bad at dry brushing. I don't like to do it harsh because I end up just painting the mini. Plus, as I've already told you, this is wet slightly because I just put it on a wet palette. But there you go. See that? Just some light contrast. Literally just coating the tippity tops of those mummy wrappings so that they look like the sun is shining off of them. Or whatever preferred lighting of your choice. I'm not prejudiced. Whoop. But there. Easy enough. We're gonna do a similar thing later on with the these two here. The only reason we're not right now is because they're wet and you don't want to dry brush over something wet. So, there we are. Here's a piece I've been working on for a while. And by for a while, I mean I started this months and months ago and I haven't done anything with it since. Which is a pity, because it's as you can tell, it's good wood. It's really nice wood. It's very easy to do this kind of wood. I'll have to cover that at some point with a different unpainted wood texture thing. This kind of wood is super easy to do. Literally takes me 7 minutes or so. Alright. But for now, we're kind of trying to do the impossible. I'm trying to do the impossible and paint the inside of this. So, may as well get started. Literally been staring at B for about 3 months now, hoping I paint him. We're going to start with the bone because that's all the way inside. There are two skulls down in here that you probably can't see due to the angles of the camera, and that's a pain in the butt. Not to mention, I was dumb enough to prime this full black, which means, yeah, it means that I'm currently trying to paint the color white over the color black. Just the most impressively suicidal thing you can do. It is a time vampire of an exercise, but we're gonna try anyway, because we have to. Because we have to. The putty dried off, so we'll add some more. We'll cry some more. Where are we? Keep losing the putty circle thingy. Where'd this stupid thing go? Still closed. Oh, there it is. Hiding behind my asthma medication. Alright. So, when the putty ain't sticking, you add more. That's it. No big trick. Nothing fancy. Done. Alright, let's keep at it. We're going to... wrong one. Gross. I hope the booty jams are not too loud or overwhelming, but I hope they're enjoyable nonetheless. There's a lot of books. Got some books in here. Yeah, this is by far the hardest part of doing this kind of terrain is you always end up with these little annoying little details. You gotta be working really hard to actually get to pop at all. Good gods, I'm surrounded by paint. I feel like I'm being invaded by it. I gotta admit, I never thought Bombing Run was a particularly memorable song up until I listened to it again as I got older. It is a jam. It's a nice song. I like it. It's a comfy song. Well, that's a start on that. I'll do the other one now. By the way, Mel, when is GenCon this year? Alright. Back to these bones. There's two skulls up on this bookcase. And I'm always like, why does a wizard need skulls in a bookcase? Bookcases are for books, dang it. I'm gonna take advantage of this and grab some of this metal here. There's a whole chest in this bookcase. I don't know why you would do that, but you know, I'm not gonna judge a wizard for his furniture stylings. He'd probably turn me, he'd probably fireball me or some such thing. As you can tell, this is the silver paint that was left over from when we were doing the lever. For whatever reason, it's sticking even better now. Probably because it's finally dried just a little bit and not entirely runny. Yet another reason why you don't want to put this in your wet palette, because it ages nicely when you just let it pool. Which is silly, I know, but you know, it's reality. Reality can be silly. I will admit, I am really looking forward to being done with all of this and just going back to working on beautiful, beautiful minis. Terrain isn't the most entertaining thing on the planet. Arguably, watching somebody else paint isn't the most entertaining thing on the planet, period. But painting terrain in particular is either an incredibly dynamic and fun thing or an incredibly boring and tedious thing. Because you're either doing this crap where you're like, it's not that great, or you're doing like giant cliffs and cool shit. Seeing a mistake here. Put some... Accidentally rubbed some silver on there, so correcting that. I know it doesn't look right for now. It's fine. We'll work it. We'll work through it. Trust me. I'm a doctor. But only of law. Yar, I be a doctor. See? Easy. How did I know that those colors, the same colors I used for gold last night, are actually the kind of colors you'd use for wood? Because I cheat. I cheat a lot. I've always been a cheater. I just used to do it with my brain instead of with my thoughts. No, wait. Those are both the same things. You wouldn't understand it. You're not a cheater. Pliers? What are the pliers for? Some of these sculpts are really lazy. I don't know if you can see from here, but like the hat only has a hat shape up until about halfway into the bookcase. It's like Jotaro's hair from JoJo. Only the front of the hat is real. The rest is just bullshit. Pliers for what? What are you talking about, pliers? I'm so confused. I looked at your chat way too late, and now I'm lost. Got a lot of booze bottles in there. I don't know what color to paint them. What do you think, red hat or purple hat? Purple? Fine. Red books then. Everybody always wants a purple hat. I've got some minis, man. I've got some minis I really want to paint. Finally managed to find myself a mini of a mage girl with glasses. Really want to paint that, like really badly. And she's a cat girl. It's like bonus points. And she's, you know, D&D sized, which is wonderful. Makes me so happy. Is that a wand? Oh dear, I'm painting over a wand. I'll have to fix that later. Kind of happy I didn't buy the library set, which is just dozens and dozens of bookcases. Kind of sad though, because my campaign is centered around a university, so, you know, bookcases are like a mainstay. I'll fix that. They'll fix you. They'll fix anyone. What, the bookcases or the cat girl? I mean, with the bookcases, I use them for, you know, D&D stuff. The cat girl, I'll use her for D&D stuff. And I had to order her from a fucking Spanish, like a Spain 3D modeler who who then makes resin casts out of his models. That's where I got the cat girl from. The bookcases, you use them for terrain. You know, you're like, oh, you're in a library, and then you put bookcases around. That's what it's for. It's just for terrain. A lot of terrain is actually kind of pointless for a D&D game, unless you've got it set up ahead of time, because you're not going to be reaching into your... Excuse me. You're not going to be reaching into your box of terrain like in the middle of a makeshift campaign. You're going to be like, all right, guys, give me 35 minutes to put all this together, Monopoly style, fucking like a big, complicated Gloomhaven style board game or nothing. It's not going to happen. You're not going to use it. Which is kind of why I regret buying all this terrain, because when I'm running a game, 99% of what I do is makeshift. So I'm never going to use it. I'm never going to use any of it. The cat girl is, actually, hold on. She's still in pieces, because you have to assemble these things when you buy them. Nothing comes put together. But, and in fact, I don't think you can even see her face or her head, but, this is her. She's got like a little wizard robe on, and, oh, that's her face. There it is. So it's like, I don't know if you can, oh, that's really hard to see. There we go. Yep. She is D&D sized, and you gotta put her together and everything. It's ridiculous. But I've been wanting a mini of a girl with glasses forever, and the only mini company that puts glasses on girls is Kingdom Death Monster, and they are embarrassingly expensive. And if I were to sculpt any of them, I could not take them to a convention, because every sculpt from Kingdom Death Monster just looks like the thickest hentai girls. Like, they're in the anime style, and their hips are about 3 heads worth, and their tits are each the size of a head, and they're always in like sexy poses, and you're like, I can't use this. I can't even put this on display. But yeah, if you're interested in sexy minis, yeah, they got you covered. It's silly. Right. So, let's have a look at these guys. He is dry for the most part. Look at that. That's not bad. We're going to dry brush him up now. We're going to give him some higher colors, because now he's too deep. This guy, he's also dry. We're going to dry brush both of these. This is going to be great. Lots of dry brushing today. Let's see. We're going to start with this. I got a couple of these from a friend who was retiring, so he gave me all this stuff. I don't otherwise have dry brush specific paint. You normally just dry brush with whatever you have around. But this is actually quite useful. It's the second best paint, the second most useful thing that Citadel makes is dry brush paint. So, in this case, there is no up. Technically, up is this way, right? So, there you go. See, all of a sudden, you can see a lot more of it. Now it stands out. You've got all those nice deep shadows you put in, but it also gives that nice metal effect. That thing you want. You know, where you have to, you refine. But yeah, you're mostly done here. This is complete. Now, the sad part is that I didn't even prime the back of them. So I'm going to have to do that at some point. Not today, obviously. Priming takes time. But he's done. So that's that. That's number 4 for the night. Which is great. So now, Skeller Man. We are just going to bring some highlights to him. So how are we going to do that? Well, again, we've got all this mini paint stuff. So you find what works. This skin, it's a little red. Maybe not. This almost yellow color, that's stone. This could work. Alternately, I could grab some Screaming Skull and just put it on the paper towel and use it that way. You don't have to have perfectly dry pigment for this. If you wanted to be super complicated, these are practically the same color, really. So either one will work. Technically, Terminatus is slightly whiter, but whatever. It's not that big a deal. I'll use the Terminatus. It's, you know, it's already in its appropriate form for this anyway, right? So no regrets. No regrets. So you put it on, you wave a bunch of it off, and then just the same. Gently. You don't want to feel the friction of brush on material very much at all. You very gently want to feel it. It is not something that should dominate. If it feels like you're rubbing your brush on it, you're probably going too hard and you're probably getting too much paint on it, which I already know I am because it feels too rough for me. But in some deeper recesses, you might have to do a couple of repeat brushes. But there you go. Look at that. He stands out a little bit more now. The only thing I don't like is his forehead, so we're going to make that look a little more smoother. There we are. Yeah, not too bad. How's that looking? Well, I'm going to do the back because the back actually has detail on it, and the idea, I guess, presumably, is that at some point, you know, they'll find it like this, and then they'll open it and be like, oh, it's got spikes on the back, it's one of those, ooh, or whatever, I don't know. But, yeah, I guess that's the point. Seems a little silly, but, whatever. Anyway. I think this Skeller Man is done. He is at least at the level where I no longer care about his quality, because if I did any more than this, I'd be spending a lot of time on him. Too much time, frankly. So this is good. Alright. And it is 10, so I'm going to call it a night. I said I'd finish at 10. I need to clean all this shit you're seeing here. All this crap got to be cleaned off. So that's going to be my next hour or so. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure to have all 3 of you here with me. Thank you so much for keeping me company. You will be sorely missed, I am sure. But I can promise you I will be back. Maybe even tomorrow. Depends on whether or not the hot yoga happens. Have a good night.